Or I can tell her.
I had taken money out of it.
I'm sorry, you're soft-spoken. I can't hear you.
On May 13th, 2025, deputies responded to a pilot travel center after a report of employee theft. Losses had exceeded $6,000 over several months, traced to shortages at the self-checkout registers. The store manager presents reconciliation records. One expected deposit of $947 came in at $851. Another, expected at $175, arrived at just $76. The pattern clearly pointed to internal theft.
The call was kind of vague. This has been...
It's still in for a little while, yes.
Okay.
Right now we're a little over 6,000.
Okay, and you have like all the receipts and everything for that, or?
Well, it's all on... Oh, so you want to get in there?
Okay.
This is what we got. On a day, we've got video. Okay. On a daily basis, the deposit should have been $947.
Mm-hmm.
It was $851. This one here should have been $175. It was $76. And this is coming out of what we call the SCOs, which is our self-checkouts. And it goes on, so that caused us a shortage of $201.
Okay.
Now, $1, just because that could be coin, you know, so $200 difference. So we went to the video and said, okay, well, what happens if it's $200? And if you would like, you tell her from there, or I can tell her.
I had taken money out of it.
I'm sorry, you're soft-spoken. I can't hear you.
I said I had taken money out of it.
You took money out of the
The SCOs.
Okay.
Hey, come on.
This is our detective up here. I called
Hi,
him.
Mr. Detective.
This is Detective Coates. So she was just explaining to me they have these are from the. Do you mind if I just take this
No,
over right here?
you're fine. You're fine.
These are from the self-checkouts. So this was the total what it should have been. This is how much it was. Same for this one here. It should have been 175. It was only 76. So they went to the video to look to see what happened, and she's on the video taking the money. I mean, she just told me she took the money out of the thing. So.
Yeah. Or did you post Miranda? Everything like that?
I didn't
Just
even ask.
watching.
She just told me.
Okay.
So I haven't done anything.
2 minutes earlier, you went through
10:17.
the whole thing.
So I'm Detective Coates with the Sheriff's Office, okay? I work all the property crimes up here. What is your name, ma'am?
Lauren Marchese.
Norma?
Lauren
Lauren Casey. Okay.
Marchese. Is that correct?
Marchese.
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 You guys want to step out for a second? I'll just have a talk with her real quick.
Let's, just so you know, this is each day, and that's the total. We do not have all of it on video, but if you look at it, you can see the trend. It's pretty good. So, okay, I'm out.
Well, I'll come get you in a second.
Yeah, just holler out here and they'll get us on the mic because we'll be up action.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
sir.
So, I'm not here to embarrass you, okay? Any more than you already are, okay? I prefer to handle this a little bit more delicately. I understand that people go through rough times, okay? I'm just trying to figure out, okay, what's going on, okay? Obviously, we had a boo-boo, okay? And I'm trying to figure out some of the details, okay? Because I understand people go through rough patches, okay? I fully understand that, okay? Obviously, for me to talk to you, obviously, you have to read your rights, okay? That way you're aware of what's going on, okay? Yeah. And she's on, okay?
Yes, I am.
Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm recording.
Have you been read your rights before?
Yeah, I've been read my rights before, just not right now.
Just not right now? Okay. You do have the right to remain silent. And things that can be used against you in court law. You do have the right to employ it and have a presence with you while you're being questioned. If you're not afforded a higher lawyer, want to be appointed to represent you before any questions you wish, you can decide at any time to execute these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do Do you understand each of these rights I explained to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How's your rest of mine? Are you okay talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm gonna allow you to kind of explain to me kind of what happened before I had to look at the video myself.
I get child support taken out every week out of my check, and it takes like probably about over half of my check every week. I should be getting anywhere from $400 to $500 every week, and I'm getting not even two half the time. So it's just like I'm trying to keep up on my rent every month, which is over $1,000. My car insurance is over $200. Same with my storage unit's almost $200, and my phone is $100 plus gas in my car every week. It's like over $100.
So you're not, your just bills are
It's I don't
way
know
over what you make.
right.
Right.
And
Is this your only job?
yes,
How long have you been employed here?
I've been here for over a year.
Over a year. How much do you make an hour here?
I think right now it's at 1580 something. But like I said, with the child support, it just takes a huge chunk out. It takes almost $300 out of my check every week.
How many kids are you paying child support on? 2? And this is to the father?
No, it's to the deceased father's mother.
I'm not sure how that works.
She has temporary guardianship of my kids.
Okay.
I just haven't been able to get them back, and I have been paying for it since, and been struggling since.
Okay. And how long have you been in kind of a financial squeeze? The whole time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When's the last time you had what did you do before this?
Before this job, I was working at Daryl's, and it wasn't any better. I was making probably just about the same amount of money, if not less. Every week.
Any schooling?
No school.
No schooling?
No, sir.
Okay. Any support system?
No, I just have like my mom and friends and coworkers. That's really it.
Okay. Explain to me what happened here. Because and when this all kind of started, when this all unraveled.
Honestly, it unraveled when I took on a place by myself in the beginning of the year.
So January?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was between January and February, and it was just $1,000 that had come up with myself. No, so it was just like really overbearing. So and I made some poor choices to try to stay afloat.
Okay. When do you think you start? When do you think these poor choices started?
I want to say it was around either January or February. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, so this has been going back to January.
It hasn't been long, but
How much money were you getting? Do you think a week?
I honestly don't know, because whenever I would have enough for any of my bills, I'd set it aside until it was time to pay it, and then pay for my bills.
Now, were you paying your bills cash, or were you putting this into a bank account?
Cash for most of it.
What type of bills other than your child support? Is that the main thing?
That's the main one that gets
Main thing?
deducted out of my check. Aside from whatever loans I get. But other than that, that's the one thing that gets deducted out automatically.
How, if you had to guesstimate, how much total do you think, rough ballpark, do you think you've gotten since January?
I don't know. I know I've been able to have my rent paid for a couple months.
And you don't normally get your rent paid?
Not as to where I have it each month, because I would pay at the end of the month, so then it would be good.
Just give me an honest ballpark.
I honestly don't know. It would be a couple. I think for the week it'd be like maybe a couple hundred. It all depends. I just would put it aside until I had to pay something.
Would you consider these estimates somewhat fair, or what do you think about these numbers? Because they're saying that's 100 here, 100 there, 250 here. Does that look right? Do you think
it might be? I honestly don't know. To
Uh-huh.
be honest.
Now, did someone else put you on this? Did you come up with this idea yourself?
No one put me on
Uh-huh.
just seen it, and I was like, well, just a little bit here and there.
And it's
but
probably a national company that they won't go broke.
No, just I wasn't thinking of anybody else. Just trying to survive. That's all I'm trying to do.
How many videos do you have that I can see right now?
Peggy's got it saved. She said what, 5, 6 videos?
Yeah. Hey, I just want to see the method of.
I think it's this one here. She is not doing a shift break at this time. She just walks over, opens the door, takes the money. Now in a minute, she'll come back and do it to the other 2. There's no reason, unless she's doing a shift break, for them to ever go in there.
And that's just a key?
We're going to fix that. This is the 3rd store nationwide that this has happened at. So we're going to fix our process. But in the meantime, you know.
You guys look on YouTube recently? I mean, with now body cameras, you get to see anything you want. Man, employee and manager thefts are like, there's like a whole YouTube channel that's dedicated to it.
We don't put our on YouTube. I'll let you do your thing. I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
Before police arrived, the manager had already confronted the subject with the video, and she admitted to taking money. This matters legally. Under Colorado versus Connelly, Miranda applies only to police questioning. Voluntary statements to an employer are generally admissible in court. A detective from property crimes arrives and takes over the interview. The workplace matter is now a formal police inquiry. Under Berkemer versus McCarty, custody is defined by whether a reasonable person would feel free to leave. Here, that line is arguably crossed. Surveillance shows her opening self-checkout machines outside her shift breaks and taking cash. The manager notes this is the 3rd pilot store nationwide where the same method was used, pointing to a systemic vulnerability. The core legal lesson is the line between an employer's questioning and police interrogation. Miranda guards against compelled self-incrimination by the state, not against voluntary admissions to a boss. When first shown workplace evidence, the time to pause and ask for counsel is before the first admission, not after.
Yeah. What all else do you have here? You have your vehicle here?
Just my,
Is that?
just my vehicle.
What do we want to do with cars for a vehicle?
What did he tell
He
you?
said I can leave my keys with one of my coworkers.
Okay.
He said.
We can
Is-
give her 48 hours.
Is okay.
Is that?
We can give her 48 hours to keep in the parking lot. It's just a decent thing to do.
Appreciate that.
All right. What coworker are we giving your keys to? The one that's right out here, or is it someone else? And then, do you have?
He's probably. I think he's by the showers.
Okay.
It's one of my maintenance guys.
Okay, we'll walk back there. And then do you have your phone on you, or is it in your car?
No, it's in the car. I want to go get it real quick so
Okay.
I can write down some numbers.
Okay.
And I can give him the keys after if you prefer, or
Where's your car parked at?
right over here.
Okay.
In the
Do
employee
you
parking lot.
care if I go get your phone?
It's just an officer safety issue.
Yeah.
Especially someone that's about to go to jail. We send in a car that we
I ain't gonna run. Like, you can follow
it's
me.
just officer safety.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly where it is in my car. That's why I was gonna just go try to grab it real quick. But you can come with me. I'm not gonna run or do anything.
Is he, whatever he's doing, is he able to step away for a second where he can come out with your keys and we can all
He might.
stand at the car together? It's that right. It's right there. I don't know if that's working or not.
Daniel?
Somebody just called me.
Where are you at?
Just ran to my truck and grabbed my charger.
Can you stay there a minute? I need you for a second.
Okay.
Thank you. He's outside.
Okay. Do you know where he parks at?
He should be in the same area.
Oh, y'all have like a designated spot you park in? Okay. All right.
That should be about the end of your.
It's all right. I gotta do what I gotta do, you know?
If you tell me, I'm like, I'm gonna roll up in there. I'm not gonna wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't.
Yeah. And then, do you need to roll this window up in case it rains?
Yeah, I probably should. Who's that one?
Jim the Daniel?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have everything you need? Okay. Alright, we're gonna walk over to not the silver Explorer, but the one next to it, the actual marked car.
Yes.
I'm gonna put you in on the passenger side just so that way I can see you, instead of being behind me. Do you have anything on you that you're not supposed to have?
Phone and earbud. That's it.
I just have to pat you down, so I'll try to do it the best. If you want to step up closer to the car,
Yes, sir.
no, you're good. You didn't. I just didn't want to. Those are your earbuds. Is that?
I'm not to start.
You're okay, honey. I vaped for about what 5 years or so. You're good.
Nice.
I'll roll the window down, but when we get to the district where we're going, I have to take it from you. Okay. Go ahead. And I'm gonna put these in the back tab.
Before transport, the detective lets her arrange parking for her vehicle and retrieve her phone, accommodations not required by law but reflecting decency. At the patrol car, he conducts a lawful pat-down under United States versus Robinson. On-screen text at the end of the footage indicates she was charged with fraud involving property under $20,000. The final disposition could not be independently verified. Detective Coates receives a B+. He read Miranda before questioning, chose a dignified, rapport-based approach, and conducted a lawful search. The grade falls short of an A because he let the manager summarize prior admissions in the subject's presence before separating the parties. Lauren Casey McKenzie receives a D, a judgment on legal strategy, not character. She was calm and cooperative throughout, but she confessed fully to her employer before police arrived, then waived Miranda and gave a detailed account, including a timeline and weekly estimate. From the first showing of the video, her only real protection was silence and counsel. She invoked neither. Pilot management receives a B. The internal investigation was thorough, video was preserved, and police were contacted appropriately. But the manager kept summarizing admissions in front of the subject after police arrived, and admitted on camera this was the third pilot location nationwide exploited the same way. Several practical lessons follow. First, silence and a request for counsel protect at every stage, not only during police questioning. When an employer first presents evidence, a calm line like, "I would prefer not to discuss this until I speak with an attorney," preserves every option. After arrest, the same rule applies. Comply physically, but wait for counsel before narrating events. Second, financial pressure has lawful remedies. Child support orders can be modified by petition when income drops. Public benefits, nonprofit credit counseling, and community aid programs exist for these situations. None of them is easy, but each leaves a person's record and future employability intact. Third, for employers, that the same method worked at 3 pilot locations points to a gap no single store can fix. Single key access to cash devices without dual controls or logs tied to authorized breaks invites slow, repeated theft. Systemic vulnerabilities need systemic fixes, not just terminating the person who finds them. Finally, consequences extend far beyond the dollar amount. A felony fraud conviction follows a person through every job application, housing inquiry, and custody proceeding for the rest of their working life. Restitution will be ordered regardless. The financial pressure that began the chain of decisions will not ease with a conviction. It will compound. Let us know in the comments if there's an interaction or legal topic you'd like us to cover. Thanks for watching,